associated with textiles. So with these words, it will be pleasure to welcome and to our first speaker of the day, Mr. Harit Mehta, and he is the chairman of ISSA Textile Forum. He has 33 years of experience in synthetic business, and also he is the director of marketing at Harin Textiles Private Limited. So Mr. Mehta, over to you as and welcome remarks.
Thank you. Namaste and welcome to our webinar number 2 towards a $100 billion collaborative bilateral trade in textiles between the US and India. I'm grateful to Mr. Satya, who gave birth to today's idea, and to Mr. Tandon, who gave it wings, and to Mr. Kota. I am grateful to them to have made this webinar possible. Gentlemen, thank you. Please do log into our database at the IACC Textile Forum. It's free. Since our webinar, number 1, ending on September 4th this year, we know of 7 textiles MOUs and 11 companies that have seen an incremental sales of $91 million. As always, this is being recorded and sent to our US counterparts for further viewing, and we are live on Zoom, live on YouTube, and yes, send in your questions too. At the end of this webinar, we will answer them. And first, here's my take. Towards sustainable textile supply chain, Indo-US textile opportunities. Today, we share with our American family what we have here in India, an industry that understands the importance and its responsibilities to make this happen. A quick 20-second introduction to our industry. Sustainable fabrics are created from recycled yarns or sustainably cultivated fiber crops with the goal of reducing water, cleaner air in its creation, manufacture, and sale. This helps in reduction of carbon, restoration of soil with limited or zero use of fertilizers and pesticides. We all know that recycled polyesters are made from PET bottles, shredded garments, ocean waste, and now with oils from coffee grounds added to make recycled polyester. But did we know that castor oils are used in bio-based nylon yarns, and that fabrics made from yarns from plants that need less water, such as hemp, bamboo, banana, pineapple? But did you know that from the 20 million tons of textile waste in the United States, the recycle rate is only 2.5 million tons. The remaining is burned or ends up in landfills. The speakers today agree that there is no one perfect fabric that solves every need. Our industry's research in India and in the US conclude that fabrics now have longer useful lifespans as consumers look for choice, purchase fewer units, wear apparel and non-apparel fabrics much longer than before, and are often repurposed to other end users. Walmart, Kohl's, Kroger, Target, JCPenney, Patagonia, along with many smaller brands, are looking for Indian suppliers that subscribe to the same principles as they do. Fair in trade, using recycled materials, companies that give back to society through CSR, and produce with sustainable environmental initiative, regardless of their current production sizes or capacities. These Indian companies genuinely consider the impact of their decisions on their workmen, customers, suppliers, community, and the environment. Recycled fabrics from India of interest to the United States could be automobile cushions, insulation panels, paper, wiping cloths, carpet padding, baseball filling, pillow stuffing, and bed and pets beddings, Our speakers at the end will add to this list. To my American family, I must say this to you, that the Indian textile industry is now manned by young, socially conscientious, often US educated leaders who are driving a national movement of people using textile business as a force for good. Buy from India, collaborate, consolidate, and combine US and India's imaginations to meet each other's needs. Our concern for the environment moves from reduction to total elimination. Our industry does not play in semantics, but we do what is good for our planet, our mother, our abode. So let's get started. Thank you. Mr. Satya, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mehta, for this insightful talk on the sustainability in textiles. And Mr. Kotak is the chief mentor of ISSC Textile Forum, Mr. Suresh Kotak, and he is also one of the founder member of the ISSC Textile Forum. But I think we have to let him go because he has a tooth operation today. So we will be missing him out from today's speech. But sir, we will be, of course, looking forward to your inputs in future.
Thank you. And I will be a good listener and learner.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Our next, it will be a pleasure to introduce Mr. Kapil Call. He is the National President of ISCC. Mr. Call is the National President of ISCC, and on the professional front, he is a board member of the Rosoi Group. He has 40 years of experience in the commodity sector, both in marketing as well as commodity purchase. He has holds several other professional engagements like Executive Council of International Chamber of Commerce. He is also the coordinator of Honorary Consulate of Mauritius in Kolkata and has also remained as a past president of ISCC East. So it will be pleasure introducing Mr. Cole to come up and give a special address.
Right here.
Mr.
Good evening,
Cole.
everybody. It's a pleasure to be here with everybody on this vital topic, which, if I have to go back in time, roti, kapda, makan. So now, kapda is something which is important for all of us, and in a sustainable fashion. There's a saying that clothes maketh a man. But at the same time, we have to realize that man has not inherited the planet and we don't own the planet. We are mere tenants in this planet. And I was very happy to hear Mr. Mehta's comments about how sustainability is coming into the industry. I have a quick point to say in this, and which is something which was taught to me by my father, and which actually saying it's not just my father. It is not just my father. It was even in all families, no matter whether we were on top, left, whether we were on top or whether we were a middle class family, whatever it is, which is that we would use everything properly and maintain clothes or maintain anything that we own. And today we all know that we all know that it's a fashion to wear torn jeans. So why can't we make it a fashion to wear darned jeans or wear darned clothes? Maintain clothes. The one idea that came up to me while I was listening to everybody, which is that if we maintain cars, then why can't the industry, why can't the industry come and buy and why can't the industry come up with a system where we educate people on how to use clothes, make them last. I'm not joking, but actually saying because of my father's tuitioning, I actually make my clothes, my suits last minimum 15, 20 years. Right. Even the suit that I'm wearing right now, it's a linen suit, but I'm wearing it for the last 12 years. And it's because I dry cleaned it on time, I maintain it properly. And if we use it properly, so there's a saying which I have, waste not, want not, right? So That's the first thing. It's not that we all know that the whole world cannot afford clothing still. There's still many people who walk around without clothing. And a lot of us, including myself, from time to time, which now does not exist, we will just at the drop of a hat go and buy something to wear it once or twice, and then throw it away. Now, that consumerist society cannot last in this planet. We can't do this. It's impossible to continue life on a growth of 20%, 50%, 100%. Okay, it has to do with employment. Definitely, we got to generate employment. But with technology, if we use new kinds of technologies to have fibers or to have fabrics that are self-cleaning, which are genetically engineered and can be reused, or we can even take old clothes, reprocess them, and also find ways of not using water. Water is a very, very precious resource, extremely precious resource. And if we don't use it and conserve it, that's very important. One small point I have on water is that, education is very vital for conservation in all ways. When I was in school in 1961, Bishop Cotton School, at the age of 4, the matron, Mrs. Goss, used to stand with a ruler watching every one of us brushing our teeth. And she used to make sure that only that much water came onto the bristles as much as to moisten it. And anyone did more than that, we got a sharp whack on our knuckles. And we were told that water is a very precious resource. Do not waste it. Same thing went for food. Do not waste it. The same thing should go for clothes and for textiles. Do not waste it. Don't buy it if you don't need it. And if you need it, please conserve it, because we need to conserve the planet. We are only tenants on this planet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Call, for your very apt remarks on, and very well said on the sustainability segment, and very deliberate experience of yours has been really a value addition to this. Mr. Call, also, I just wanted to brief all of you, and it will be a pleasure to tell you that Mr. Call has chalked out a very ambitious plan for ISCC, and on nationally, he has created a theme of E3, that is ecology, environment, and energy. So these are the three important aspects where under his leadership, ISCC is working on nationally. So it will be a pleasure to introduce rest of the panelists, and to whom we are actually waiting for the entire day to hear about. I'll start with Mr. Anjani Prasad. Mr. Anjani Prasad is the moderator for the today's session, and along with him, Mr. Keur Parikh, he is the global head from the Wellspun, as well as Mr. Naresh Tyagi, he is the Chief Sustainability Officer from Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail Limited. We have Mr. Anmol Malik as sales specialist from Amazon Global Sales Program. So Mr. Anjani Prasad has more than 35 years of experience in textile industry, and he is a currently managing director of Archroma India. He has done his BSc and MSc from ICT, from Institute of Chemical Technology from Mumbai University. He started his career in way back from Century Mills in '83, and then later on moved to Clariant as a country head. At Archroma, he's looking after new business development, joint ventures, and innovations. And besides that, I would like to go back to Mr. Keur Parikh. Mr. Parikh has 20 years of rich experience as in the textile sector as sales, marketing, and new business development. He is currently the global head at Home Textiles, Wellspring, India. He did his post-graduation in management from Mumbai University, and he has been instrumental in creating strategic relations with top retailers and supply chains across the globe. It will be a pleasure to introduce Mr. Naresh Tyagi. Mr. Tyagi is the Chief Sustainability Officer, Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail Limited. He has rich experience in apparels, textiles, and retail industries. He has also been conferred with Sustainability Professional of the Year Award at Global Sustainability Awards. And Dr. Tyagi holds in many national and across industry platforms like Cotton 2040, Ellen MacArthur Foundation. He also holds a doctorate in chemistry from CCS University from Meerut. Mr. Anmol Malik has been working with Amazon close to 3 years, and especially helping home textile category to create a market linkage for the home textile category, and especially in West India. And he did his MBA from IMT with specialization in marketing. So, Mr. Prasad, over to you, and we look forward to your moderation today and inputs and insight from all the respective panelists today. Thanks.
Thank you, Satya, and it's a great honor for me to be on this in this dais, holding this good webinar with Indo-American collaboration, and the topic is around sustainable textiles, which is very close to my heart. And we need to really go into a bit of depth. What I will do is initially I'll give a preface on what's happening around and what we can do, and then turn by turn we will I'll give some questions to the panelists, and I have got a great panel team which covers up from the fashion area, from the home textiles, and also from the retail. So this gives a good perspective going forward. Now, looking at the whole value chain of the textile, we need to really look at where we can have the collaboration and where the sustainable angle we can bring in. Starting from the fiber itself, as was told by Harit, that there is a lot of fibers which consumes less water. So what are the fibers now we can take forward from India to US, and what are the strengths of US? US especially on cotton, we know that there is strength, but India we have also rayons and polyester and all other fibers. Silk is a bit down, so we need to look at whether silk could be another option. Going into the next stage is the textile mill itself. The textile mill from the fiber spinning and weaving and processing happens. Spinning and weaving, we are far ahead, huh, in terms of our status. But processing is a bit not too much of a contribution which we are able to make on a global level. We may be occupying only 5% of the share as compared to the spinning of about 18%. So that's where I feel there's a lot of scope to improve. Water is a huge part. The efficiency of the plants is going to be important, and the safety of the plant is also going to be important as far as the textile mills are concerned in India. And how they play around is very important. Size and the break-even points are also going to be critical aspects to look forward. The other angle, which is getting in from the chemical angle, which we bring in the textile industry, is how sustainable we can get this chemicals to the in form of dyes, either in recycling processes where some of the dyes can never be stripped, and so we have some of the dyes which can be stripped. So that could be a norm going forward. What could be the dye strip we can, for example, sulfur can be stripped and reactor can never be stripped. For it, if you talk about the chemistry, and there are some chemicals like resins and all, it's difficult to strip, and there are many other dyes which are naturally sourced and naturally made or biosynthesized could be an option there as far as the chemical industry is concerned now. And India is a big exporter of dyes, we all know. The other angle is on the supply chain and the retail, which also we need to look at, and garmenting. Now, garmenting is not big, and that's where the sustainable angle of this 17 sustainable goals will come in terms of creating a culture and social aspects of sustainability in the garmenting, because it requires a lot of big manpower. And biodiversity is also going to be critical. Plus, the gender equality could be an important element in the area of garmenting. And in retail and also supply chain, a huge amount of complexity which we need to take out from the system, mainly around that we are making fiber somewhere, the yarn somewhere, the weaving is done somewhere, the processing is done somewhere. So we are losing a lot of things in transportation, in working capital, in terms of carbon footprint. This supply mechanism has to be adhered to and closer to the end users, either in the US or in India. Whatever is the requirement, can we collaborate in a manner? If machineries and technologies are in the US, we need to bring it here. And same way, we can bring the technologies there. And that's where the collaboration on supply mechanism to reduce the complexity of supplies and the cost around can be taken care of. Retailing, online, digitalization is going to be the key in the whole value chain. And at the end, the recycling aspects will come in for the textiles. Now, the 17 sustainable goals is all about circularity, climate change, in terms of product stewardship, in terms of cultural aspects, in terms of digitalization, also in terms of environmental safety, fair labor law practices, whether we have that compliances going forward in the right environment, product stewardship, occupational safety measures to be taken in the plant, and sustainable sourcing. So all these things will be very critical to go forward. In Europe, one T-shirt, if you are able to recycle, you can save 1 trillion liters of water. And if you look at all the packaging industry which is around, if you convert that to textiles, it can be a big boom overall. Also, there are 5.9 trillion liters of water are used every year in the fabric dyeing, and how to reuse and to look at. And I feel in Tirupur we have the right kind of a structure where everything is recycled. Everything is even evaporated and collected. The only thing is the salt part can be taken care of, but this is a natural way of managing, which is not there in any part of the world, but it's more expensive to do that way. The other aspects to make sure is that now the population of the world will go to 9 billion. 2 billion will be added in Asia and Africa. Now, these are the continents which are going to be the consumptions of the future. And how do we harness that in terms of sustainability? What kind of fibers, what kind of technologies, what kind of things we can play around in this area? And another thing which we need to be also making awareness is, I would say that about 40 to 50% of the wardrobe space is never used. That means all the articles lying in the wardrobe, 50% is only used. 50% is just lying there for years. And that's exactly what Mr. Paul was saying. I'm hearing for 15 years this. And this is where the whole problem starts, in terms of dumping the wardrobes and buying all the time and not getting into this reuse part. When you look at the global market and the retail space is about 2 trillion for the fashion industry, and 1.7 billion, 107 billion items are sold, and only less than 1% is sustainable. Now, that's where the game is, and that's where we have to play with all our intelligence. And four countries export more than 80% of all the cotton in the world, and 1 out of 3 garments are coming from China, and 2% only factories are certified in the world for sustainable things. The April market is as big as 748 billion. The home textile is about 118 billion. The denim market, which is very big, also with 70 billion, but we are not playing too much in the US. Home textiles we're playing a good amount. In the fashion we are playing to an extent, but there's a lot of things which we can do, especially on blended textiles and activewear, which is not there in India, as good as what is there elsewhere. So on the denim side, the only few players are able to export to US. Their quality standards and the kind of stitching and the kind of washing and the techniques required, and also the clean coat technology using less chemicals. All these things are important. The other aspect which we need to bring in an exchange between both the countries would be in the area of how we can make the whole process safe, efficient, and enhanced value. And these are the 3 dimensions I would like to look at during the deliberation today. Are we using the safe technologies? Are our processes in the plants efficient, or the supply chain efficient? And are we creating value behind it? I would now, with this initial words, get into this whole deliberation, and I would invite now Naresh Tyagi in the front, and would ask him what are the activities in Aditya Birla you're doing towards sustainability, especially in the area of since fashion and apparel, which is important for you, and also what are the recommendations you would like to bring to the industry, and how we can harness this whole collaboration. We know in the fashion area that our Indian society is naturally, getting into a kind of a sustainable angle, because we give it to the next layer, and it goes on till it lands as rugs for cleaning of cars at the end of the day, or wiping off the floors. So India has that tendency. Even the saris which our grandmothers wear is given to the bahus. So we all have that nature, and I'm sure that these aspects also has to be learned, and we can teach abroad. Though I feel this aspect has to be also taken very strongly. Innovation and also in the area of education on sustainability will become very important parameters. So Naresh, stage is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Prasad, and thank you, Satya, for a wonderful session. And good evening, good morning to all participants who have joined today. Uh, all that context which is said, I think that as I have advantage to work in that whole textile value chain, I have seen that how in last 3 decades, whole industry is moving. And one thing which I find in our industry is that wherever I hear this is a very traditional textile industry, which consume significant amount of natural resource, contribute to lot of negative environment impact, not only for that consumption, but overproduction. The kind of chemical we use, kind of process we use. And I think this is a very good time to deliberate on that, how we can move to green textile, how we can move to sustainable fashion. This is one aspect of it. Other side of it, this is one of the largest industry for employment. And in particular, garment sector being MSME, it provide maximum number of employment to women. In this way, this is a sector for social and inclusive growth for entire sustainable textile value chain. Now, in this, if I talk about that sustainability, it's we all know that what is sustainability, but whole meaning of sustainability is changed in last couple of years, particularly in pandemic. That whole concept of sustainability, it's not nice thing to do. It's now as a ability to sustain in long run, because there is a lot of uncertainty, and then we see that trend of overconsumption. So how we can take this as a ability to sustain from midterm to long term. And this is that area which textile and apparel industry is facing to move to or to transit towards that sustainable fashion. For our company, I think this is one of the key aspect, how we embed sustainability as a ability to sustain in long term. We started our journey in 2012 and 13 program called Re-Earth. It was clearly that program say that we will give back more what we take from ecosystem, and focus was on that, how we can restore or balance whole ecosystem for positive impact on environment, planet, and society. We with that we 10 mission what we started from energy, carbon, product, packaging, green building, water, wash, safety, how that safe environment we have that, and CSR, and finally that zero waste to landfill. We decided that it's not only that something which we have to do for only for resource efficiency, but how we will use resource more for optimization. Uh, with that 10 mission, we set our target for 2020. For example, energy, we took target that will reduce 30% of energy consumption. And we took all that initiative to reduce energy consumption by various methodology and solution. We were able to reduce 33% of energy. With product, we find packaging is also one of the waste which goes to system. So we look into packaging and we were able to achieve 89% of our packaging is now sustainable packaging. So our target is 100%. We reduce tonnage of unwanted packaging, which is waste to the consumer. Consumer never ever look into these packaging and they throw this into dustbin. Then in product side, as already said, that product we sometimes overbuy and we don't use it properly. So three things which we look into product is, one is that how that product can be used more. quality and longevity is something which we always uh, talk about. Then second thing is that how that product is made to be remade, how that product can be remade again. And third thing is that important is how you take or how you make that product from renewable material and sources. So these are the three approach what we took for our life cycle approach. How we can build a circular ecosystem, and most important, it cannot be done by one company. It need to be done in collaborative and co-creative manner with the uh, all stakeholder, including supply chain and value chain partner. With that agenda of making a sustainable product, eco-friendly product, more focus was that how we design our product. Even most important is that zero waste kind of system. So today I'm happy to say that none of our waste goes to landfill. It's almost zero waste to landfill. Even that some of the pre-consumer textile waste we have taken, and our own sister concern, Birla Cellulose, they have made fiber, regenerated fiber from pre-consumer waste called Reviva. And that product is used with that making and designing textile fabric and material. A lot of work which need to be done to make that whole ecosystem and circularity. But I would say that in the whole sustainability, it is triangle. One side you need that whole innovation and innovative solution to come. Other side you need that technology and digital platform. How you can bring a whole ecosystem and stakeholder together to get that change. And for one example, I want to give in dyeing, lot of unwanted chemical and dyes is used. So with one of our partner, we developed something called Earth Chino. That program was that we took that waste, and from waste we use that dyes, natural dyes, 100% standardized. All that durability, fastness, everything was well standardized, and perhaps it was the one of the product launch in India and recognized globally for quality and sustainability in terms of natural dye. Uh, then other product, even when we look into that, how we can rework and re-optimize the material, something called for earth, and that our own factory fabric waste, which we use for that fiber, and then it came back to our own factory to make the garment, and then we converted that into garment. It's called for earth. How we have that sustainable raw materials, sustainable supply chain, how we bring all that partner together for not only material choice, but all that supply chain, and most important, consumer. How you bring consumer to have that choice of the sustainable product. Though in India, that sustainability is a new concept, but millennial, especially new consumer, they are willing to buy product which is more sustainable and end of use, nothing going to landfill. I think lot of work between US and India can be done in terms of collaboration. We have that lot of textile fiber and material which is on sustainability, be it regenerated fiber, recycle, or even some of that chemical and dye stuff which can be good for that textile supply chain. Another area is that which I think we definitely need to move to that action for sustainable textile is technology and chemistry. How we have that more and more chemistry which use less water, less energy, less wastage in system. It can be technology, it can be R&D. I think that is something which is still we think we need to move to that green chemistry for that green textile. But there is a lot of scope because India is the largest market for product consumption. Same time, it is one of the largest supply chain for textile production. So how we kind of co-create a system, it's sustainable consumption and same time it is more sustainable supply chain. For example, if I give you that how that whole uh, ecosystem of sustainability. With SAC, we work Sustainable Apparel Coalition, HIG Index. Perhaps in Asia, we were the first one to deploy HIG Index in India across our supply chain, including our own factory. So all our factory, warehouse, we have taken to that green building approach. It's not only move to that cleaner or better certified platinum or gold factory, but it save lot in terms of resource consumption, be it water, be it energy, waste, even carbon footprint. I think that whole industry need a lot of collaboration because this industry is too much fragmented from fiber to fabric, yarn, then garmenting, then retail. And we are trying to build kind of ecosystem, how we can have all stakeholder on that from value chain, supply chain, and R&D partner into that. I feel this is still a lot more need to be done, but this is action decade for India and the US to collaborate and to make all these changes, which is required for systematic change towards sustainable textile value chain. And not to forget, there is a lot of social angle to it because the kind of equality, gender equality, employability, this sector generate kind of unorganized MSME, it bring into ecosystem. No other sector has that opportunity to have that sustainable textile value chain. And I think that this through this platform and collaboration, we not only orient and educate, but we can create some sort of forum and ecosystem to accelerate that transition towards sustainable fashion. Happy to contribute in that, whatever more we can do. Anjani, you are on mute.
Sorry, Naresh, great insight into the safe angle of production, which you said. Also on the efficiency part, where energy saving measures and a lot of value enhancement in terms of either the earth colors, which we normally provide for the chinos, which you used, which is biosynthesized, and also this for earth, and also the reuse of the waste. Within your own company like Birla, making rayons out of it, and a lot of things around the sustainable angle in terms of packaging, which was really good insight which you could put in. And I feel we can take away some of these important elements into the collaboration kind of a discussion going forward. So thank you very much. I would now ask Kayur to take on mainly from the Wellspun part and also the home textile part, how the sustainability is managed, what are the steps, what are the macro views of the current status and scope of exchange between the two countries. This could be a very important aspect. And I know that you are the biggest exporter to US, and you occupy a good place there. There are also areas with respect to fashion, home textiles, where still there's a scope. So we'd like to hear from you on the sustainable angle, what we can do together.
Yeah, thank you, Anjani, and thank you, Chamber, for giving me this opportunity. So yes, Anjani, as you mentioned, Wellspring is a global leader in home textiles, and we really have a strong partnership, and we enjoy the status of being preferred partners to large retailers in US. And just to give you some numbers, Wellspring has the highest market share in US of terry towels. So every fourth towel sold in US is actually manufactured by Wellspring, and every seventh sheet sold in US is actually manufactured by Wellspring. So we enjoy a large market share there, and we understand in depth the US consumer. We deploy a lot of resources like brain trust. That's a Wellspring resource where we do consumer paneling, understand what are the needs of the consumer. And interestingly, this topic that the chamber has brought up is very interesting in today's times, because it's actually coming from the consumer. The rise of consumerism, which is happening across the globe, and especially in US, where they're becoming very conscious. They want to know their dollar is being spent wisely. Okay, so what they buy is sustainable and should be used in a wise way. So the manufacturers that manufacture those products, have to use sustainable practices. As we move forward in this trend of rising consumerism, it's going to become very important for all manufacturers to adapt to sustainable practices and also adopt disclosures that are validated, as Naresh mentioned about so many validations that Aditya Birla Group has. Now, similarly, all the manufacturers, large or small, will have to adapt this. And why is this important? Is because while textiles is, connected so much and gives so much employment world over to people, but also, our industry is the second largest polluter, right? It's like, cotton growing takes so much of water consumption. Processing and dyeing takes up water into an unedible source. So there's a lot of pollutant that is generated by textiles. Synthetics don't go into the earth. It goes into the landfill, and so on and so forth. So there are, it's a concern. It's a concern for us as an industry. It's a concern for the consumer. So they want to know, and that's very important. And hence, we as Wellspring are very conscious about this fact. And we have adapted a lot of things, like we heard from Naresh as well. Good corporates do a lot of work around this, and we have been very proactive to understand this. And businesses are expected to act responsibly. So it's also important to know how and where the products are made. Becoming and today's consumer is also very worried about the origin, that where it is coming from. Is it coming from some province where child labor is deployed, or is it not healthy practices? So these things are increasingly becoming very important, especially in very highly consumer oriented markets like US. And most of the US retailers, as we speak, have also taken up these centralized sustainability targets, where they have put, the years that by 2030 or 2035, what targets, what are they going to achieve towards sustainability? So accordingly, as Wellspring is a vertically integrated, farm to shelf solution provider for home textiles, we have also adopted this journey. And from being just proactive, like, doing something in environment or education, empowerment, or eco, we have actually gone into a transformative journey. Now, what is a transformative journey is that, we have adopted ESG, environmental social governance, principles. And hence we have set ourselves targets, which we have declared in public forum. For example, carbon neutrality by 2030. That's a must, not proactive actions, but a must. So a roadmap leading to carbon neutrality by this year. And similarly, going zero landfill, or going, any positive. So was water positive. We have set ourselves targets right from 2023, 25, 2028 to 2030. So that we actively work and invest towards creating an entire sustainability ecosystem, right? And which also solves a lot of problems in terms of, how you address these into your product or your community or the environment that you work in. Wellspring was recognized as one of the top 100 companies in India for sustainability by ET Futurescape, which was recently done. We have broken our journey into, all the supply value chain parameters, like, cotton to, that's the raw material, to manufacturing, that's the production, to supply chain, and to upskilling or circularity, as you may say. Talking about cotton, we have a project called Well Krishi, which we have launched, where we are supporting farmers for growing sustainable cotton. So it all starts from cotton. Cotton being, India is, the prime land for cotton. So Indian cotton is used highly into the textile and apparel products. So we have started with supporting farmers in growing sustainable cottons like Better Cotton Initiative. And our management has dedicated itself towards non-GMO organic. So we actually are supporting farmers to grow non-GMO organic, which is truly sustainable. We have covered about 120,000 acres by now, touching about 400 plus villages, impacting 70, 80,000 farmers. And this figure will keep growing as we have put it into our targets, of ESG. Look at manufacturing operations. I'm sure Naresh shared a lot of them, and we've also achieved those milestones in terms of the most important one being a community service, at the same time being sustainable, is recycling of wastewater collected from towns around the facility, and treating them to be used in the manufacturing facility. And we are talking huge. I mean, 30 million liters capacity per day, kind of a setup. And that's how the commitment is. And then, obviously the validations of all these certifications that we spoke about, and Naresh spoke about, the OTEX or the Higgs Index. And what is very important is energy conservation, because, sustainability encompasses, all these wider topics into one goal of conservation. So energy conservation takes a very important space into our strategy of achieving the conservation goal. So phasing out coal is something that we've taken up very strongly by looking at a lot of alternative energy sources and creating partnerships and collaboration. And this is also as a suggestion to a lot of other manufacturers that you don't need to get alone on this journey. You can have a lot of collaboration, working closely with energy companies or the grids, to get to alternate energy sources. Also, a very innovative step that we took within the textile industry, home textile industry, is to bring the accessories closer to the facility. So we have provided space to our associates, business associates who manufacture accessories like labels, wash care labels, near the facility, so that they can set up shop, small machines, which actually can fulfill our needs, so that you reduce carbon footprint by bringing it over from all over the country. Okay. So these kind of efforts also have led to supply chain mitigation of carbon footprint. So sustainable modes of transport using battery operated vehicles, and bringing technology in terms of transparency. So supply chain transparency of the traceability right from origin of the farm to the shelf of the retailer, or to the home of the consumer. So just giving a QR code to give the entire provenance end to end through technology, which is blockchain, which is right into the public domain. So as we speak, we are doing a POC of that, and by April we are launching it on blockchain. Besides blockchain, we can still provide the entire QR code solution. And as a lot of activities are needed from moving from, this is all pre-consumer activities, to go to post-consumer, because sustainability is encompassing all these end-to-end circularity objectives. So from post-consumer, we have our created small helping women empowerment centers to near our facilities to make products from rags or waste. And we have branded them as Spun, and we also received an award. The Spun Project received an award from the Indian government to, as one of the leading companies to give women empowerment, as we created this brand for the international market so that they can become self-sustainable. Packaging, as rightly mentioned by Naresh and highlighted, that's so critical. So recycling, using recycled products for packaging, and also, we use a lot of Birla fibers into our products, which are recycled, as he mentioned. So these become very important. But at the end of the day, the objective is that the consumer should know about it. The customer should understand and value it. So we've created the whole LCA. Now, what's an LCA is basically a life cycle assessment of the product that we supply, so that it provides the whole, list of, okay, how much carbon neutrality you've achieved in this, what is the water situation, how much water you are less consuming into this. So, you go through this whole life cycle assessment for study for a product, and then you take your measurements and targets towards achieving much more than what you are doing by doing some small proactive steps. So you move from proactive to transformation by actually measuring them to that level. So I think today, Anjali, it's very important and critical to, be on this journey and create a roadmap for being sustainable.
Thank you, Kior. Very good insights. What I could make out was on the ESG becoming a norm now globally for many of the corporates. They have to get the governance part very strong, compliance part. A lot of things will happen on REACH. Also, various countries are going into that, not just Europe. So that's where we need to look at carbon neutrality and zero landfill again becoming an NCA. And a very good thing about this whole thing about the farmers and the social aspects, which your company, and then traceability becomes an important area again, because it's all about everything. It's tomorrow we are talking about chemical traceability, water traceability, the fabric traceability. So there are different angles to the traceability where we need to get into this whole sustainable world going forward. And nicely onto the area of energy saving and all the other projects of responsible manufacturing, which was covered very well. So I will now go to Anmol, Malik, in the area of how Amazon and the team is really taking this whole retail and sustainable offerings and the demand which is there, and how this demands are then changed into sustainable offerings, and also the concept of reduce, reuse, recycle, and whatever thoughts, And I would like to see this aspect could be also covered up, which are very important aspects. And let's hear from Anmol. Thank you. Anmol, you're there? Maybe we lost him. So let him come back and we can go into maybe another area of, I can bring in Naresh back again, talking about what could be the areas and ideas on sourcing and vendor management and selections of the vendor which you do. Because there is a lot of things happening about EcoVadis, and a lot of certifications are there. And there is a policy various companies are using in terms of screening the vendors and getting it more effective. So if we can throw some light till we wait for Anmol to join.
Sure. Sure, Dharni. I think supply chain is very critical, because when you choose and select the supplier, it's not supplier, it's your partner. You have to collaborate with them for your vision and your implementation. We have that kind of philosophy that it's all that strategic partner and a long-term partner. And the kind of selection process is one is we look into that filter, what we have well-established standard called vendor code of conduct, where we take care of all that ESG element of it. We have that 11 point in that. So any vendor who is inducted in system go through that vendor code of conduct. That is a mandatory thing. Once we have that and we have onboarding of vendor, then we have a vendor development sale, because we call that it is partnership and collaboration. We do handholding and work together, how we move out of that traditional inspection and check-in system to assurance system. And a lot of capability building is required, because digitization and collaboration is required in that. So we started something called Green Channel Partnership. It's perhaps one of the unique in industry retail. We started in 2013, where we say that we will build capability for textile mill and fabric maker, as well as garment maker, to understand our requirement of quality, to help them to achieve that quality, and all that investment in training, orientation, capability building will be done. And we started with one of the Chinese mill called Luthai in 2010-11. Today, our 45% of fabric comes through Green Channel Partnership. So that vendor COC is the filter, but Green Channel Partnership is a true-way collaboration where you don't need to duplicate. Multiple check, multiple inspection, this and that is completely eliminated, because we find that is non-value added activity, and we try to automate that wherever possible. And with the Green Channel Partnership maturing, we further look into that garment side, lot of productivity and efficiency loss. So how to bring that MSME to the level of best possible resource efficiency, be it material, be it machinery, technology, water consumption. So we did all that handholding. For example, in garment industry, something is called marker making. They use paper, and then paper is put to cut the fabric. We eliminated that whole process and use, instead of fresh paper, that recycled paper. It not only save 7 tons of the paper consumption, but it save a lot of cost. These small things give confidence to these supplier and partners that it's something which can be done together. And then we deploy that standard called Higg Index, FEM 1.0 to 2.0 to 3.0. And this whole journey, we find that some of the people who was on lower end of, let's say, 20 score, today they are 70 score. So all that resource efficiency move from looking into monitoring system to optimization level. Even our own factory, we decided that it's not that we will ask other. First, we will demonstrate what is the benefit. And all that pilot we did ourselves. Our own manufacturing unit, today we are on 35% our energy requirement across not only supply chain it is 60%. 35% energy requirement is solar rooftop and renewable. Water, in our own operation, we are water neutral. So now I think that whole supply chain, which was more, I would say, collaboration, we encourage all our suppliers to bring what innovation they can bring in fabric, in yarn, in chemical, in textile. And we created that platform called Partner Innovation Summit. And that Partner Innovation Summit, perhaps a new kind of this industry, any retailer inviting a small supplier, big supplier as a partner, and asking them to showcase their innovation. And it was good opportunity to co-create a solution. A lot of wastage in terms of sampling, remaking, this and that, completely eliminated. We moved that something called product lifecycle management, PLM. And the PLM, we gave access to our supplier and partner to move to that traditional and conventional report making. We used to have bundles of reports going to our warehouse. We save 14 tons of paper just eliminating report. Today, everything is on digital QA app. And that brings a lot of transparency. That brings a lot of partnership approach to contribute together. Because if they are losing, we are also losing. If we are losing, they are also losing. So how to have that resource efficiency win-win for both. How to move to that resource optimization. In that way, I think supply chain we never consider as a supplier. We consider it as a partnership approach. And with that, now we are moving to that circularity, recycling, and reuse. And today, I think we are bringing all these small supplier, big supplier, everyone on the same platform to have something called Circular Apparel Innovation Factory towards circularity.
Thank you, Naresh. It's very important to look at this. This whole partnering goes on the right way to bring in sustainable angle. Now, if you see America, there's a lot of sourcing happening from Honduras, a huge amount of sourcing happening, and it's also important that we need to look at whether we can bring in these kind of elements also to get the collaboration moving strongly from the Indian finance or jointly with them bringing in some more technology. I feel apparel knits is all going in from there in a big way. And this partner is very important to bring in sustainability angle very strongly. And also, sustainability is always going to be a cost also. Now, the brands and the retail, once they understand that there's a cost involved, the whole value chain works properly. Otherwise, everyone is squeezed in the process and no one really works on the sustainable angle. And this is very important that we get this whole value chain done properly. Now, Anmol, you're back now. We missed you, so I would hope you could throw your ideas to the whole group regarding what Amazon has been doing on the sustainable angle, also what they're doing in terms of reuse, and recycle, and also explaining about the Amazon global marketplace functionality. No? So if you can bring that all together, could be a good idea. No? Anmol, we are not able to hear you. Not audible yet.
No, Amol, we cannot hear you. Can you use your, are you using your laptop screen or are you using your speaker? You are using your earphones. Don't use your earphones. Can you hear us?
I feel unfortunately we're not able to make
Yeah. Maybe a technical problem.
Maybe
Yeah.
a technical issue, and I would ask Kayur, to also throw more light on the area of the manufacturing process, mainly in terms of efficiency and economics. Kayur, this will also help because that's going to be an important element in terms of cost and how the retailers look at it, because we are a part of the value chain.
Hello. Yeah, may I come in? Anmolji is on speaker phone with me.
Okay.
I don't know whether that works. He's on the phone and he'll try to speak with that.
Yeah, let's see if we can speak out, Anmol, because you're on mute still. Can you speak out? No, we are not able to hear.
No, you're on mute. You're audible to me on WhatsApp.
No, but we are not able to hear it. Huh?
Yeah, but others can't hear you. So Satyaji, can we get Mr. Sagar to call him on WhatsApp and then he can try to resolve the issue?
Yeah, let's do that. In the meantime, we can hear from Kayur in the meantime. You're on mute, Sharadji.
No, I can. We will try to. I'll tell Sagar to look in. But I called Anmol. So earlier he was using his earphones. So now he switched off to his laptop. I think laptop speaker should work out actually. So if laptop speaker is also not working out, then it would be the last resort that can be taken care is through accessing through your smartphone.
Yeah, that's the best way. That's the best.
So, Satyaji, can you try it on the side while Anjani ji continues the discussion with the rest of the
Sure,
panel
sure,
members?
sure.
Yeah.
We are
Yeah.
working out on the background.
So in the meantime,
Anjani ji, Satyaji is calling you, okay, on WhatsApp. Anmol ji,
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yes. Yes. We lost you again.
We are audible from Zoom only.
Anmol, what you were doing earlier, please try that one. I think we were able to connect with you. We could hear you, and again we lost you again.
Just give few seconds to him. No, we are not able to hear you. So I feel we should continue. In the meantime, we want to resolve it. So sorry, Kayur, to keep you waiting. We would like to hear from you, especially onto the area of manufacturing processes, because that's where a lot of things on efficiency will be there, and also economical and cost, because you're a part of the value chain, and then you're also getting to your retailers and how strongly they're pushing on economics. Now with all these yarn prices and fabric prices, energy, supply prices,
Hello. Hello.
Anmol has come online now. We can hear it.
Yeah, I think now the issue is sorted. Right?
But your two devices, one you have to
I'll just close that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect. Finally.
Yeah, thank
Uh, okay, so I did have a couple of links as well to show to the larger audience, but I think since my laptop and mobile phones are in a separate marketplace in separate devices, that would be an issue. But anyway, I'll share all those links to one of the panelists, and post that somebody can share it on the group. So just to give you a brief background. I've already got a lovely introduction, and so we have a program called as a climate pledge friendly program. So I will be sharing the link as well. So what program? What does it mean? Is so we have partnered with trusted third party certifications, and basis that these certifications are basis on the compact design packaging, or which products are made basis sustainable fabric, or sustainable packaging, so as to promote those kind of products in the US, as well as on other marketplaces of Amazon as well. So just like one of the gentlemen rightly mentioned, that we are seeing numerous customers searching for sustainable products, and making sure that they buy only those which are actually climate pledge friendly. So that was also one of the very important reason why we have developed this program. And I'll share the link of the multiple products which offer that program. So what happens is the sellers, or the selling partners, or the manufacturers who are part of the program get a badge which is called as a climate pledge friendly badge. So what happens is, for a customer, for example, you are a customer and you would like to buy only XYZ product, that badge would be there beneath your product, which would help you in taking a judicious call. So that is one of the initiative which we have taken. And so how there must be multiple questions that how do you qualify for those programs. So we have got some certifications. If the larger audience is unaware, I'll just share. We have got Blue Sign, Carbon Free Certified, Fair Trade are some of the certifications which we are accepting. And we have also what is basically the climate pledge. So the climate pledge calls on signatories to be a net zero carbon across their businesses by 2040. So we are working across that, and you know it's I we hope that we are able to get as many sellers on board with with the ones who are offering those climate pledge friendly products, so that we are able to conserve our environment and help our customers as well. uh, Other than that, since I also work for the business development team of Amazon, I'll just give you a gist about how the entire marketplace functions. So we are from the Indian global sales team, wherein we help all our manufacturers, exporters, as well as the first time exporters, to sell on various marketplaces like the US, which is the Amazon.com, Canada, Mexico, the Middle East, and a lot of European countries as well. So you can let us know, and you can connect with me, or just log in on sellercentral.amazon.com, and then you can gain an in-depth understanding of how the entire marketplace functions. So basically, an Indian seller lists their product on Amazon.com. Basis that we schedule an FBA shipment via FedEx, and then the FedEx guy picks up the shipment and then delivers it to the Amazon's warehouse in the US. And once that reaches the warehouse, the listing goes live, and from there the customers, the US American customers, can actually buy those products. So this is a very new concept, and of course, since Amazon is such a huge marketplace, this is really helping our Indian exporters and manufacturers to grow on a very large scale. And we'll be happy to onboard all kinds of all our sellers, and help India grow into a very climate sustainable country in the coming future.
Thank you, Anmol, for these words. Your third-party certification, your sustainable packaging route, this climate pledge badges, which is kind of a game changer, and also the certification issues and describing about the marketplace was really helpful in the whole process. I would now go to Kayur, if you can come back on the screen, Kayur. You have been waiting now 3 times, I have told, but unfortunately this happened.
It's okay. Yeah.
Go ahead with this.
Okay, fine. Yeah. I think it was important for Anmol to share the Amazon experience, because that's something that is very it's becoming important in terms of how do you reach out to newer markets, as he said, and especially the US market. And Amazon has some really good services which they provide, like FBA, fulfillment and other things, where it can really facilitate and help the Indian manufacturers to promote their products in US. Coming to your question, Anjani, yes. So manufacturing efficiencies and economies, yes, is the norm of the day, as we live in a very high cost escalated scenario at this moment, where everybody's facing it. And yes, the inflationary trends are very high. But, I would say that in spite of this, it's like, one has to, look at two very specific trends here. One is the digital, which is more of the intangible, and the other is the industry 4.0, which is more of the tangible. So these two adoptions are very critical right now, because that gives you a lot of speed in terms of efficiencies, to achieve efficiencies, and also which then leads to higher returns, which gives you economies. So both are very important and very critical. Some of the things that I could share is, when we look at, obviously industry 4.0, it's more about automation. Automation, loosely said, is just upgrading something, but if very precisely focused, automation actually leads to higher efficiencies in terms of, look at shoe bots. Now, shoe bots is something which is a technology which is, available now. You can lease it out. It's very important in terms of, driving operational, higher abilities to create faster and many larger volume products. So, these kind of, and also reduce the, cost at the same time. So, such examples are very prevalent, now, and it's very accessible. There are startups which help. There are, formats which are available where, you could associate yourself to some, good consulting for paperless, movement. So now, factories have to adopt paperless working. There are performance monitoring, IoT solutions available on unified platforms, where, you collect real-time data directly from the machines, and that makes your planning more efficient. You know exactly where, the material in the process is, the material handling reduces. Okay, so these even the smaller softwares, are so effective that it can actually drive large efficiencies. We've experienced ourselves. Also, quality control is getting into transformation. So, it's like retailers don't want to police you or monitor you. They give you the responsibility, and that's on your shoulder. So if you have to also be very, very specific and clear about your quality control procedures, and you could use AI solutions. There's artificial intelligence solutions where camera based, where everything is caught in terms of if there's any in defects or minor defects or major defects. So these tools are now very widely available. Also, warehousing or storage tools are there. So, you could look at automated storage and revival system, which is ASRS, which is very effective in terms of material handling, and it also drives, efficiencies. So these are, a plethora of, softwares or tools which are available. You could start small from aiming paperless to going right big up to getting into automated, robotics. Also, on the softer side, as I said, digitalization is more important, where, supply chain analytics or using of, insights from these analytics, where, obviously digital business like e-com business uses a lot of analytics, but also in manufacturing, if your planning is very healthy and very efficient to, look at the scheduling processes or, reducing the errors, basically. So error mapping is very important and critical. Analytics use of analytics is very important there, which can drive, a lot of these efficiencies. So I think it's both the ways, Anjani, digital as well as, industry 4.0, which could immensely help in improving the efficiencies and getting economies.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I mean, I could take away two or three very important aspects. One, you talked about the value loss. Huh? That means all this digitalization to help in terms of early detections and no reuse, reprocessing happening, and you get to the highest value part. And I know that, a very high value numbers you're working. I've been personally there to the plant, so I've seen this happening. The second aspect which you touched was very important aspect is on the working capital management, mainly on the inventories, onto this planning processes in terms of having the right KPIs, to identify in terms of stock management, in terms of stock movement and traceability of the stocks and dispatch point, because now freights and which is correlated to the carbon footprint is very, very important. And if you want to serve American customers, you need to have this part very clear. Many of the people are not able to serve because of lack of this digitalization to give that information at the right time. And this is very important points. Now we have about 12 or 15 minutes left, for this whole session. I would ask quickly each of you, what are the two products which you can suggest, which we can export or import from India and vis-a-vis from US. So Naresh, you can start. I have got some ideas. I will put it at the end. But then Naresh, what are your views on this? Quick half a minute, answers.
I think that for US market, in terms of garment, we are the preferred supplier. I will still say that India has a good potential for sustainable fiber because we being the largest viscose maker, our pre-consumer waste conversion into regenerated fiber is something very unique. It can go to US market for sustainable fiber. In terms of what we can get from US is, I think a lot of R&D and technology support, particularly chemistry side and the platform side. I think if we have that technology and R&D, India can move faster in terms of product life cycle and traceability and transparency as a advantage.
Great, great knowledge. From your side, Kehur?
I think, Anjani, what is important is, most of the conventional things like apparel and home textiles and towels and sheets, and, already is, well distributed in terms of, what is the strength of a COP, country of production, right? Because it's very highly raw material dependent. But if you look at some of these, newer aspects of the advanced textiles in terms of technical, so you look at non-woven spun lace, or look at those kind of products which are used for cosmetics, which are very specific in terms of technology. I think those kind of products makes a lot of sense, and to find addressable market in US, right? Because it's a very conscious hygiene and health market, right? So those, I think, are I would say that would be my leading perspective on that. And the other way around, Anjani, that's also very important. I mean, US actually has, like, Wellspring has a tie-up with DuPont for a very specific sustainable fiber called Sarona, which is a plant-based polymer, right? And we've launched products together in the US market, where we actually buy the fiber filament from them and, convert it into the product and send it back to US. So it's both the ways, So like you asked, so one is, I think, the non-woven spun lace kind of products for the flooring products, which are now coming up. And as we see China plus strategy on sourcing side, that's also coming up. So these two would be the, highly recommended segments for me.
So the Anmol, from your side, hope you're audible.
Yeah, I'm audible, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, just like the panelist rightly mentioned, home decor and other products definitely work well. What I would also, just share an idea is that fabrics, maybe just raw fabrics, which a 1 meter fabric, a 2 meter fabric, a 4 meter fabric, which is many people might not think about that, or many people might not have that kind of an idea. So I would suggest that all the sellers to think of those kind of fabrics. I mean, you don't have to think that Amazon will only have finished products, or if you don't have a finished product, you cannot sell on Amazon. So fabrics and we see a lot of customers buying just fabrics and then making something on their own. So do think of that. And if you have a sustainable fabric, definitely just go on Amazon.com, see how the sellers are buying, get a very good idea, and then we can connect and start the Amazon journey with you.
Thank you, Anmol. From my side, I would like to add up a few things. I mean, America is doing a huge amount of research on 3D printing. And this is where we are not yet caught up to any level. And there we can definitely look at to bring in those technologies, even in textiles, for some of the special articles. May not be too much into fashion, but also in technical textiles. A lot of things can be collaborated there. The other part, which is also important for them, as rightly mentioned, is the technology part, where in technical textiles and other areas, they are huge consumers of it, but we can be the big producers of it. So that's where I see a lot of chance to be done. Even in denim, we are very meager player as compared to the Bangladesh or Pakistan or Turkey supplying to US. We are nowhere there. And there are a lot of good technologies which US has got, like Cleancore technology. You can Google it around, and you can find a lot of information around this, which you can get from US. The other area which is also important could be the natural based products, which we can do a lot with the herbal part. Could be some of the areas we can pick up there in terms of collaboration. So, I mean, with these words, I feel we got some good idea about what could be the topics of collaboration. I would be now opening the floor open for question answer because that's a very important aspect, and I know a lot of people are waiting, and I would like to have some help here in terms of either Sarath, if you can help with some of the questions which are around, huh? If you can see that. Huh?
So there is one question from Mr. Hitendra Parekh. What is your experience of natural dyes for polyamide?
I mean, I can answer that. Natural dyes basically is also moving quite well for many of this protein fibers like silk and wool. And polyamide, we have to really test it out because it behaves a bit different in terms of pickup. But then could be something which we can look at. The polyamide is not big in India, but this could be a very good area for the active wears, where we need to look at it. So there is no direct answer to it from the natural because we have no big experience on that in India.
So there is a same question for another same person. Though natural dyes are sustainable, what about the chemicals being used for application of natural dyes?
Yeah, natural dyes. If you take natural dyes per se, there's a lot of mordant use and a huge amount of loading of mordanting in terms of either the iron or the aluminum salts are being done to get. But there are also people now started using non-metallic based, mordant, which are natural ones, and so this is going in the right direction. The only issue with the natural dyes is basically to align with the retailers on the reproducibility and the fastness levels, which it may not give, and also the continuous application. These are the three areas which are still roadblocks. It's still with artisan, small scale it works, but maybe in a large scale. But then, as a company in Arcoma, we have made this biosynthesized earth colors, which is all can be run in the big factories and run it around. So you can still live without these big chemicals which are causing problems in the natural dyes.
And there is one more question, Mr. Pratik Kothari. Can recycled polyester be considered to be sold under sustainable category? Any of one can.
Any of you can take up from the panelists? Naresh?
Yeah, I will take this question. So I think that lot of debate on that part, what is sustainable and non-sustainable. Recycle, because as focus of everyone is that nothing should go to landfill, because particularly in Europe, landfill is a big problem. India is also getting that issue of landfill. To avoid that garment disposal at landfill, recycling is a one alternate option. Lot of debate on that whether recycled polyester can qualify 100% sustainable. People have done a lot of research, different thought, but at present it is considered one of the option for recycling to avoid land disposal and landfilling. But same time, uh, microfiber which come from that recycled polyester is still jury is out whether it is better than virgin polyester or it give that more microfiber in every washing at end use consumer. A lot of research and it is still debatable what degree it generate microfiber. In India, we don't have much in our portfolio polyester. We have taken recycle cotton and recycle regenerated, which we call viscose, as a big thing. Polyester, I think, I would say to great extent, it's qualified to be recycled polyester as a sustainable.
Thank you.
Thank you. There is, I think we can take this one as a last question, and then probably we will go for the concluding remarks.
Yes.
Can recycled fabrics made from fabric cutting waste have any prospect in US market?
Should I take that question?
Go ahead, Naresh.
Yeah. So I think that recycled fiber, particularly pre-consumer, a lot of research is going on. And you know that concept of less emission fiber. When you consider that emission factor, you have to see that recycle version, how more efficient it is for that cost, quality, and emission factor. So it's a good option because pre-consumer is still, I would say, much better than post-consumer in terms of fiber remaking. It can be good potential, but it's still a lot of standardization, lot of R&D need to put for reliable and credible quality and supply chain. And same time, what is happening in name of sustainability, people are overcharging. So if you have that recycle fiber cost or recycle yarn cost, which is higher than your traditional, that consumer and retailer mindset is that cost should not go up. If it is same cost, then it's very good business opportunity and value proposition.
Thank you, everyone. We really thank you from the bottom of heart, and thanks for being sharing all your valuable ideas and perspective on this subject. As it shows that, as it says that without a ruler, a kingdom cannot be ruled. So without a proper closing remarks, it cannot be getting over. So it is my pleasure to just tell few words and introduce Mr. Sarath Tandon. He is this advisor of ISCC Textile Forum, and he has a resource of 35 years of experience in consulting, and he is the CEO of Standon Consulting, and he has been advising CEOs and MDs from the textile companies and conducting many coaching classes and helping them on workshops and conducting workshops. He has also undertaken many turnkey projects covering from the textile fields from Tarapur, based at Tarapur, Kolhapur, and Ahmedabad. So it will be pleasure hearing your closing remarks, Mr. Tandon. Thank you.
Thank you, Satyaji. The world of sustainability is new and dynamic age upon us. It's a word that sounds simple, yet I am not sure how many really are able to grasp its depth and immensity, including myself. Really grateful to the panel for simplifying it and placing before us concrete and real-life examples that are relatable to our lives in the world. We miss today words of deep knowledge from the legendary Shri Suresh Kotak ji. However, we were glad to hear with passion and heart of a sensitivity champion, Mr. Kapil Call of IICC, that education is very vital for conservation. Use effectively and efficiently was the mantra that he gave us. As also elaborated so well by Mr. Harit Mehta, this is about sharing with our American family what we have to offer in sustainable textiles from India. Mr. Anjani Prasad laid the ground with his take on status and sustainability and suggesting reducing complexity in our supply chain by collaboration. Mr. Naresh enlightened us with steps taken by Aditya Birla Group and scope of economic-friendly products potential in context of USA trade. He made an interesting point, giving back more than we take. Make it a mission. Mr. Kayur shared the initiatives of Wellspring in the home textile field, sustainable range, which are useful as emulators for the Indian textile industry as a whole. Today, as he emphasized, consumer is driving sustainability. ESG is becoming the norm. Mr. Malik laid out the amazing opportunities Amazon Global Selling Platform program offers via a direct and deep pipeline into the US market, especially for SMEs. The ease of now doing business in USA with such a giant partner and felicitator should enable quantum leap in trade of sustainable to third-party certifications and environment friendly bags as climate change pledges. Ladies and gentlemen, what we have before us is an opportunity that is only for us to lose. Given the alignment and the pouring of selfless support from such giants of the industry, we cannot ask for more. As guided, we should suggest looking at the following offerings from India to the USA in the sustainable textile niche. Fabric, small quantities. That's an open option now with the help of Amazon. Special technical textiles. Sustainable denim. Home textiles, product with herbal and natural dyes, among many others that are possible. As always, and the present initiative is ample evidence, IACC and its Textile Forum are present and keen to lend our resources and shoulders to help you reach record sales growth with USA. Please write into textileforum@iaccindia.com. My thanks to all the speakers and panel hosts for the wonderful session just concluded. To you, the attendees, for making this a success. Satnarayan and Rakhi Sikkaji with their backend team for the painstaking work that went into the smooth conduct of this event. Wishing everyone a safe and healthy future. I, Sharat Tandon, and our IACC Textile Forum take your leave. Good night.
Thank you. And internally, we all thank Mr. Kamal Vora, Mr. Sagar, and the entire team of IACC and wonderful office bearers we have with us. And thank you for to all the panelists for being present here with us, because you have always been very kind enough to accept our invite and being present here whenever we wanted you to deliberate. And thank you to all the participants who are present with us. You have showed an immense encouragement. You have been with us, being present with us. You have immensely encouraged us. Thank you all. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.